Right, okay, I'm going to hit a nice simple video here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show, using only the paints that you kind of got with Combat Patrol, how to create some snake bites. So keep it simple as possible. I'm only going to show two colours that I've used because I've used so many different colours on this model. I don't want to be all day about it, basically. Right, start off, we have some yellow. Now, although yellow in itself is not a great replacement for a proper brown, we just don't get quite enough browns in Combat Patrol, or at least we don't get enough browns that aren't dark or kind of too flesh coloured. So what we can do, however, is we can kind of use yellow and orange to create nice earthy colours, and that's the core thing about the snake bites. It's about getting earthy colours down. Okay. The problem is it takes a little while to get this down. I kind of go as quick as I can. I don't want to be at this all day. Now, you'll notice if you're using yellow as a colour, it doesn't go on very well. It can be very streaky, so you're definitely going to end up with a couple of coats here, but just make sure that you thin your paint out and everything will go a lot easier. So I'm going to make sure that I do the whole pants in this yellow. So that's our kind of pants done. Now, in order to do the shirt, I'm going to use Squig Orange, which, as an orange, it's far closer to a brown, in my opinion. And I'm pretty certain that if I sat down and knock my camera, if I actually sat down and spoke to someone who better understood colour theory than I, they'll tell you that brown is just orange with some extra darkness added to it, which I think is kind of right in a lot of ways. And the good thing is, as an orange, as a fleshy coloured orange anyway, it actually looks kind of good in my opinion as a kind of light shirt colour, particularly for snake bites. You've probably noticed, if you've watched a few of my other videos, that with my Evil Sons, I've gone for greys on their clothing, which I've then tried to make look oily. So the clothing of your orcs actually really matters to give the impression that they're part of a particular clan. With my Death Skulls, my clothing is very jeans and leather. So blue pants, black or white shirts, again dirtied up quite significantly because you want it to feel, you know, you don't want to feel like these guys go and get a washing machine every now and then. They just literally wear the same shirt until it's cut to ribbons, and then they just probably find another shirt to put on. Okay, so now at the moment that looks kind of very flat as a colour. That's fine. It also doesn't feel earthy. So at the moment, although it's got like the good tone, it lacks a kind of groundedness that I want. So how am I going to get that right? So over here, I've got one where I've done a bit more work on it. So I've given the boots, I've done the boots in, what's it called now? Night, that one, Night Questoris Flesh. I've done things like, what's it called? I can't, Wraithbone gloves. I've put a wash over the skin, which I'll cover now at Flesh Shade. But you can see I've tried to like use browns and, for the most part, to complement the colours. And now what I've got to do is I've got to actually wash this now so that it feels browner and feels dirty, and that's where we get the right blend of Flesh Shade. Now we can use different browns if you want different a darker, you know, basically if you want to shift it so it's darker, you can use a darker brown if you need. But what I love about this is as you kind of push it over the yellow, you can see that aside from getting the actual shadows done, it darkens the yellow and makes it look dirtier and more grounded. And it does the same if you run it over the squig orange. If you've already painted your ammo belts and things like that, you can also just run that ink over that brown just to give it a bit of extra clean darkness, add a bit of shading, add a bit of shadow to it. But you can see what it's done is it just pushes it instantly towards the darkness. And you can do it wherever you feel that it's useful. So, for example, on this here, on that fur, even on the gloves, to dirty them up and to stop them looking flat and textureless. And if you feel like you want that to be lighter later on, well, all you do is you just do a bit of relayering with Wraithbone over the night, over the Questoris. I'm even putting it over the metal because actually it looks good for Snakebites, having the metal browning like so. I'll even actually do it on the gun because I think it actually adds a dirtiness to the gun. Not the same as doing rust. So if I wanted to rust up the gun, I'll do a different process. But just to create a feeling of dirtiness, Snakebites are not trustful of technology. So it stands to reason that they probably don't really know how to take care of it as well. Again, you can go back over certain parts of the silvers to pick up the colouring again later on. And there we go. What you'll end up with when it's done is something that looks like this. So you can see what I've done is I've obviously painted the orc skin with our Flesh Shade, but what I've got is a very kind of brown, dirty, washed out clothing effect now, and I've not really done anything much more than use 2 colours. Now I could improve that by relayering in places on here or highlighting the edges, but I'm trying to make it as simple and as quick as possible in order to get these done. So there we go, that is some really simple Snakebite clothing using only colours we're getting with the Combat Patrol magazine. Thanks for watching, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next video.